Well, the sword of Damocles that has been dangling over everyone's head regarding TikTok has apparently evaporated thanks to soon-to-be President Trump. I don't know. We're going to see what plays out in this whole thing, Mover Nation. This morning when I logged on, it said, we were working on things, just be patient. And obviously they came to avail. They came to fruition. However, to join all this, I think, and what really calls all of this into question is what's called into question is our mental health, the obsessive scrolling, doom scrolling, and what we really experience when we become addicted to social media. And of course, here to join me in this journey today and in this discussion is friend of the show, psychologist Dr. Roger Rhodes. I'm Collier Landry. Let's get in.
Testimony continued today in the most notorious criminal trial in which Dr. John Boyle is accused of killing his wife, Maureen.
The boy confidently told the jury it was his decision to testify against his father.
I heard a scream. I heard a thud. It's about this loud.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
I decided at an early age that our trauma should not be what defines us. It's what we choose to do with it that does. I'm here to share my unique perspective on true crime, mental health, society, and popular culture, and always with a slight sense of humor. I'm Collier Landry, and welcome to my show.
Live from Santa Monica, California. Mover Nation, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Wherever you may be and however you may be watching or listening, thanks for making me a part of your day. So good to have everyone here. TikTok has lived to fight another day. I'm going to get into this discussion with my good friend, Dr. Roger Rhodes, here in a minute. However, I want to tell you guys something. I went and saw the Bob Dylan movie last night, A Complete Unknown. I'm not like a Bob Dylan fan, but I'm a massive fan of his music. Do yourself a favor. Go to your local multiplex and see it. It was fantastic. Fantastic. Brilliantly acted, brilliantly directed, brilliant cinematography, and obviously the music is incredible. I can't recommend it enough. And I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. I sang, I went with a friend. They were enjoying the music. Everybody in our row was enjoying the music. Everybody was talking and interacting, and it was really, really cool. And so I cannot recommend it enough. You guys asked me about movies, and tonight we have Collier's AV Club, which we're going to check out. We're going to watch this Luigi Mangione documentary from the New York Post, which has just come out. That is what we're watching in 1 hour and 45 minutes for all channel members and Patreon supporters. I guess I could present the, well, I can't because I didn't do a PDF, but that is happening tonight. If you are a channel member or a Patreon supporter, you should have gotten a message from me with the link, but it is in the members section here on YouTube. And so if you guys are around, you should check it out because it is going to be super cool. I have not watched this documentary. The fact that the New York Post made this thing inside of a month is pretty incredible. It looks pretty good. Friend of the show, Matt Murphy, is on there giving his opinion. Obviously, he's a big true crime guy and a former prosecutor down in Orange County. Had him on the show last year for Christmas. Super cool dude. He's in that documentary as well. So we're going to check that out. It's going to be pretty groovy. And I'll throw this up here on the screen here for y'all to check out. But if you are a channel member, and we're going to do like live reactions, things of that nature. Nope, don't really want to. All right, StreamYard, you got to make everything difficult. So we talk to our software here, in case you guys don't know. We think that it may help. I don't know. We'll see. Let me check out the comments. Are things good? Okay, everything's good. Everybody hears me. President Trump, original surfer Bob says, President Trump making TikTok great again. Oh, it's so funny because it was so politicized by both parties. And again, I took a shower. I ran outside to take the dog out, and now I'm all sweaty. One of these days, I'll get a nice head start on everything that I do, and life will be perfect. Until then, I'll just continue being a regular guy over here. Let me throw up the. Let me throw up the attachment for. Okay, so this is tonight live. We do Collier's AV Club. It is it's usually the second Sunday of every month, but because of the fires last weekend, which are apparently, Amazon Alexa just told me, and now she's probably going to talk, that the Palisades fire, which is right behind me, which is I can't see anymore, but if you guys were following my lives, you saw them all from my deck. That is at 22% containment. The Eaton fire, which is on the east side of Los Angeles, affecting the Altadena, Pasadena area, that is at 55% containment. And then the Hearst fire, which I believe is somewhere north of Los Angeles in one of those other areas, and it's only burned about, well, I mean, it's still a lot of acreage, 700 acres, but that's about 98% contained. For those of you asking about the wildfires, and there are links into my other videos and on my community page with links on how you can help out the survivors of the fires and the first responders. So check all those out. Anyways, tonight, January 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to watch this Luigi Mangione documentary from the New York Post called Monster or Martyr, which was interesting because I had a video titled the same thing before this came out. So New York Post, and it did really well here on YouTube. So New York Post, did you steal my title? But it's all good. I don't care. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, as we always say here. Anyways, if you are not a channel member or a Patreon supporter and you want to join us for that, sign up. There's links. You will get it. And I look forward to seeing everyone there. It is just like a live that we do here, but we get to watch this. And it's super, super cool. Anyways, very excited. Very excited about my guest today. Very excited to talk about this whole TikTok thing because, you know, I get the national security angle. I get why these politicians or people in power are nervous for a multitude of reasons. You know, it's a Chinese company. There's issues there. You know, President Trump, when he was in power, if you guys are not familiar, he had a ban on Huawei phones, which are very popular Android phones in China, but he had banned those imports as well. And Huawei actually also makes wireless routers as well, because when I was in Australia a couple of years ago, I had to use one, and I was like, "Oh, Huawei," and it hit me like, "Why am I using this? Oh, I'm in another country. That's why." But yeah, he banned the Huawei phones for the same sort of concerns, and we'll see what happens. It's like I believe it's like a 90-day stay, but I'm not exactly sure. We can pull up some of this stuff, but I'm going to bring on today's guest, my good friend of the show, Dr. Roger Rhodes, because he has always got fantastic insight on mental health as it surrounds these popular culture issues. And please welcome to the stage, Dr. Roger Rhodes.
I want to say we're going to cover the spectrum tonight because you talked about watching Bob Dylan. I've just been watching the Grateful Dead. So we go from
nice
Dylan to the Dead here on this show.
You know, so I was going to go see that movie with a friend of mine, who ditched me out to go see ditched me out to see the movie with her ex-boyfriend, best friend. Mm-hmm. And it really hurt my feelings for a myriad of reasons that I'm not going to get into. However, the movie finishes with you know, like a Rolling Stone, mm-hmm. Like a Rolling Stone. And I was listening to the lyrics of the song and I thought, God, I would have been with that person, because this person is a Rolling Stone. Has the you know, it was one of those people like looks down their noses at people and then wonders why they have no friends and why they're alone. And I thought, oh man, if I was seeing that with this person in the theater, I would have lost it, and I would have started singing it and been obnoxious as I was last night.
Yeah, but see, think about what I'm watching. Driving that train, high on
cocaine. Casey Jones, won't you watch your speed? Trouble ahead, trouble behind.
Where we are today.
And you know that notion just crossed my mind. That is the first Grateful Dead song I ever heard, by the way. Well, that I knew was a Grateful Dead song. I mean, I'm sure I'd heard other Grateful Dead songs, but I heard that song, I think I was 16. My mother's best friend played it for me.
Good baby.
We get educations in Ohio. They're just a little different. But yeah, so I'm sure now we've been flagged on YouTube. We used a naughty word. So now we're in trouble.
What was the naughty word?
The substance.
Oh man. Well, we were driving that train high on some substance.
High on some substance. Yeah. So is this a documentary you're watching, by the way?
Yeah, by Scorsese, documentary on the dead. Good stuff.
I didn't know he did I mean, obviously, Gimme Shelter is like probably his best. Well, I mean, I guess the what was the one that he did about the band? Why is this name escaping me? I mean, Gimme Shelter about the Rolling Stones when the Hells Angels come in, they kill somebody like live on camera. That's wild. But what was the one he did about the band with Robbie Robertson and
the band.
No, but what was it called?
Oh man. You know what I would
It was
do?
like the concert. It was like the last concert. You talk about a documentary and a concert film. Oh my God.
Yeah, buddy. Good stuff. Good
all those
stuff.
characters were in them being played by actors in the movie I was watching last night.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or a lot of them. Anyways, man. So it looks like, I mean, when I posted this live this morning, we were in the band land of TikTok, right? And now we've come out of that, and I don't like to get political on this channel because I can be really political. But when it popped up at midnight, when I logged on, I was like, let me see what it says. And it popped up and it said, sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. And I thought to myself, and look, California is a state. Let's see if we can get this in focus here. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So obviously California is a state where we have a very Democratic population. We are a blue state. And I thought to myself, and I said to my friend, and we're both we were both registered Democrats, and now we're both registered independents. I was thinking to myself, I was like, what a lost opportunity politically for Joe Biden and company to come in right at the last minute and just like save the day. But then they put it on Trump and everybody. And I'm like, you have 180 million Americans that use TikTok. So you basically just said Donald Trump's your hero. Which I don't know if that's the message that people are wanting to send.
It doesn't matter what they said. America said he was the hero.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying even this app, it's like now you've just lost this opportunity because there was a very massive liberal, obviously there are lots of constituencies on TikTok and, whatever the algorithm feeds you, right?
Right.
It seemed like it's a very lost opportunity politically for one side of the aisle, I thought. And I was like, oh, but I don't want to delve into all that because that's
one of many. One of many.
Yeah. But I don't want to dive into all that because that will steer us in a whole other conversation. What I do want to talk about is, there are I actually got some money from TikTok like 3 days ago. My PayPal dinged. I had gone viral on TikTok in 2022, and they're very creative on how they monetize you because while you're going viral, they say, okay, you can apply to the creator fund, which they conveniently don't accept your application until after you're done going viral and you have 60, 70 million views on your content. Then you can be monetized, and then it doesn't matter anymore because all your stuff went viral and making money. But I got like a couple $100 or $100 or something. I thought, oh, wow, that's really cool. But I think about the people who use it. There's TikTok Shop. There's people who use it to advertise their businesses, whether they're a chef, whether they own a daycare, whether they're a firefighter, whether they're personal trainer, whatever, what have you, like many social media platforms. But it seems like TikTok was very specific. So you have a group of people that just scroll all day and just watch everything, which God loves you. We love all of you that do that and watch all our content. But also on the flip side, you have people that their livelihoods depend on it. How does it affect the collective mental health? Because it seems like there's a lot of interest aligned there.
Well, it's really two different subjects. One is mental health, and the other is more money, more money, more money. See, you're talking about money they may be doing. They're giving $100 here. Oh, no. When you're talking about tech, you're talking about literally hundreds of thousands of dollars and the influential power. So that's what's really going on. somebody in the picture is not making the money. And somebody in the picture wants to make that money. And so if either they'll make it one way or they'll make it another. They'll make it by shutting it down or they'll make it by restructuring. But basically what we're seeing is money at the top. When you want to see a crime, follow the money. I've lost you. I can't hear you.
Because I conveniently mute my microphone so much, or inconveniently mute my microphone. I was going to say, I dropped a goal for super chats. We have a poll that is going. We have 60 votes so far right now. And guys, we only have 6 likes. What's going on here? Let's get those likes up. We got like 172 people on the show. Oh, now we got 42 likes. Okay, great.
All right, there we go.
There we go. Now we're getting a little better.
Yeah,
52% saying no, TikTok shouldn't be banned, and 48% saying yes. So, all right, let's talk about there's a great article here in the New York Post, and it says, what will happen to your body when TikTok is banned? Experts warn of serious withdrawal among serial scrollers. And I'll actually throw this up on the screen because I do find it interesting. I want to share it with the audience because how does one's body go through withdrawals over social media?
The phrase is jonesing. It joneses for a fix. So that's what goes on, that whether it's alcohol or drugs or TikTok, it's that I'm used to getting stimulation either through chemicals or through the internet or whatever. When it's taken from me, my body and my mind starts jonesing and having a craving for the substance, whatever the substance might be.
So, all right. I know there's a lot of schools of thought of this, and here the universal symptoms of withdrawal from any addictive substance are extreme anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression, and cravings. And people who are addicted to TikTok, if they stop using it abruptly, may experience any or all these symptoms, says Stanford psychiatrist Dr. Anna Lemke. They should have you interview on this too, Dr. Raj. But
be sure to my number, Collier, so they can give me a holler.
Right? They have all the info. So I guess I understand like a physical withdrawal. People withdraw from alcohol, people withdraw from narcotics and drugs and things like that. Cigarettes, but social media, like not seeing.
Wait a minute. Imagine, Collier, there you have a girlfriend that you really like, and you're having a great time, and everything's going good, and so you got used to the loving, and all of a sudden she dumps you. How do you handle?
I'm familiar with this scenario, by the way. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty familiar with this scenario. It's been what day is it? Okay,
every guy I know who dates is familiar with that scenario. And so
I've had recent withdrawals.
What they got used to was taken away from them. So anything that brings pleasure that's taken away with nothing to substitute it is going to cause withdrawals of that pleasure substance. So because it's creating dopamines in your brain, and all of a sudden it goes away, you're going to start craving. You're going to like, oh, and that's why people who break up at times don't do well. They act inappropriately in the breakup of a relationship. So anything that, whether it be media, whether it be a love relationship, whether it be you and a dog, you have affections for the dog, but the dog doesn't live forever. So when the dog's gone, if I don't replace that dog with another dog real quick, I'm not going to do too well.
I'm taking all of this in. I'm soaking it in. It's really hitting. It's really getting close.
Well, I know you love dogs. Now I know you like going out. So we got two things covered here, Collier.
Oy vey. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like when I bring you on the show, we enter into like a personal therapy sort of zone. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, I could see that. Because you get used to the person and you
No, it's not used to the person. You get used to the feeling that the person creates.
Oh,
That's like she could come and go, or they could come and go, he could come and go. But boy, the feeling I received through our interactions, however intimate, will mess with me if it is withdrawn and not replaced with something else.
that's interesting. Well, I think this is something that a lot of my audience can relate to. We all have gone through those relationship withdrawals, I'm sure.
So much fun. Woo, buddy.
It's interesting that we're sort of going down this road here a little bit, because I was having a tough time over the holidays, and at points, and I would turn, I remember watching Tony Robbins, like in one of the first ever TED Talks, and he says something I'll never forget. He's talking about like somebody watching the same like movie over and over again on DVD or maybe even VHS. I mean, this is like 20 years ago, right? And I started thinking about the familiarity, and I sometimes will put on a show like at night to fall asleep, which is terrible. I don't advise this to anyone. It's terrible to watch screens before you go to bed. It's probably what's disrupting my sleep the most, but I do it because I get restless. I don't want to whine, whatever. And I'll put on something that's familiar. And to me, like I used to obsessively watch this show Succession. So I've probably seen every episode like 4 times. So I'll put Succession on, then I'll fall asleep to Succession. And I guess the reason why is not, I mean, I love the show, but it's also that familiar voice, that familiarity right there.
You bet. Wait a minute. Let's think about how much money Mariah Carey makes each Christmas off of a song she recorded years ago and presents it like it's a new song. It's because it creates a feeling. And that's what people are paying for, the repetition of the feeling, not, I got to hear Mariah again. No, they've come to other artists, they list other things. But boy, when it comes to Christmas, nothing's going to make you feel like that Christmas Mariah Carey song.
It's very, very true. Very
and that's
true.
Why 60s people listen to I Can't Get No Satisfaction over and over again.
This is very true.
Right. Because they've tried and they've tried, but they can't get no. Yeah.
This is very, very true, my friend. See now I got the Rolling Stones playing in my head. Bob Dylan, Rolling Stones. It's been like a throwback weekend, I'll tell you. Some people were talking about, and obviously other countries have banned TikTok, and it's banned in India, for example. And I was contacted to do some voiceovers for an Indian company a couple of months ago. And I said, how did you discover me? And they said, oh, we discovered you on TikTok. And I was like, wait, I thought TikTok was banned. And they go, yeah, we use a VPN. And somebody in the chat is talking about using a VPN to access it. They're like, yeah, we use a VPN to access it. I was like, oh, okay. So there's always a way around, right?
There always is. If somebody wants something bad enough, they're going to figure a way to get there. That's how it works. So is there one level of banning? Yeah. But there's others where you've got to go layer before somebody is genuinely banned. People might even go to China, record it, take the recording, ship it to America, and listen and watch it like that to get it. That's a whole different level of addiction.
Yeah, I just here it's saying, warning of mood swings, panic attacks, and dysphoria.
Yeah. Hey, in common words, you feel like crap. That's what that's saying in an intellectual way.
I
no
guess
more TikTok, I feel like crap. Yeah, okay. That's how it plays. And they're just making it highfalutin by using $10 words where common people just say crap.
regular people.
Yes, regular people. Regular people have crap in their vocabulary for about 20 psychological terms.
Cat Loves Catskills told me, here we are. She comes through. She's our music person.
Right.
She discovered me based on a music video that I directed that has like 1.5 billion views on YouTube. She says The Last Waltz was the documentary.
That's it. You're right. It was The Last Waltz. That's exactly the title. Way to go, Catskills. I love it. Yes. That immediately hits. Yes.
I
Great.
appreciate Kat for you bringing that to our attention, because I'm embarrassed that I could not remember that.
Well,
I'm a bad
I
filmmaker.
when I see it, but boy, could I just pull that out of the sky? No.
Oh, I can see it all. The Neil Young on stage, the whole. Oh, what I mean, great movie. Oh man.
Yeah, a lot of talent, one place.
Absolutely. All right. So now that so now everybody has gotten their collective fix, right?
Right.
We're back on TikTok. We can access it. By the way, if you guys don't follow me on TikTok, and now that TikTok is back, go there. Join my 304,000 subscribers over there.
There we go. Right.
My TikTok family, Mover Nation on TikTok. But no, in all seriousness, now that we've been given, I feel like I don't have kids, right? But I have friends that have children, and they we'll be like, let's say out to dinner or whatever, and the kid's playing on the iPad, right? Or like, here's dad's phone, play on the phone or whatever. Because it keeps the kids occupied. But then like when they take the iPad away or the phone away, they get pissed off. Or like whatever kids do. They throw a temper tantrum.
Collier, let's go back in the day. I bet when you ran around, when you were a child, weren't you given like a popsicle or a sucker?
Or like an etch-a-sketch, speak and spell.
There we go, get an etch. There's a million things.
I've thoroughly dated myself now.
And get connected to, okay? So you're an etch-a-sketch kind of guy.
I was an etch-a-sketch kid.
Okay, then if you need to get people, if your parents needed to get your attention, they grabbed the etch-a-sketch. There we go. Yeah, and that's called parenting. Yeah. Wait a minute. ADHD Collier is in his own world playing with the dang etch-a-sketch. We haven't figured out that particular diagnosis yet, but we know he's what we would call in your day handful. Collier's a handful. How do we handle Collier? We grab his etch-a-sketch and he freaks out. Yeah. It's the same stuff, different equipment. I
guess it is, right?
Yeah.
So in your opinion, as a clinician, as a doctor, as a psychologist, is TikTok and social media and this consistent, scrolling and bombardment of information or visual stimuli, is that like a harder dose of heroin than a etch-a-sketch is?
No, not really. Not really.
Okay.
I guess
that's what I want to know.
Probably part of what you're asking is the blue light that comes from the screen have a big effect on the people viewing it? I've not really read depth into that subject, but I know that exists. But I promise you, if Collier was young right now and they took away his phone, I doubt that he would act differently than when he did when you took his etch-a-sketch. I don't believe there's a big difference. I just think it's different equipment. And what we're really talking about there is a level of habit.
So I
only had the Etch-a-Sketch once a week, and they took it away, and he really acted out. Well, Collier's got big problems then. But if Collier's been playing it 10 hours a day for 5 days in the week, and we take it from him, and he acts out, what you'd call that is regular. That's regularly what you do.
That is regular. That is regular. You know, when I think back to being a young person, right, and my stimuli was my stimuli, because I was not a television kid. Like my mom would put me down in front of like the television,
Right.
and it was always like some sort of educational program that I'd be watching.
You grew up in the wrong place. I grew up in Oklahoma. They put you in front of the TV and watch Cowboys. Now, who doesn't
I watched Chips.
watch Cowboys?
I watched Chips as a kid. I remember watching Chips, but Saturday morning and all that. Yeah, I wanted to be a motorcycle cop in California.
Yeah,
Like
man.
that's what that was like one of my first dream professions.
And shooting at the hostels in the area.
And honestly, if I was in law enforcement, because I, a lot of times in Hollywood we have the like retired motorcycle cops that end up being like the private security for productions, and they get paid, a very good rate to come out and hang out with movie stars and production people, and they're treated like royalty. They just keep the peace. But I always ask them, I'm like, what was it like being a motorcycle cop in California? Because their bikes are the cool BMW, not to get sidetracked here, but the cool BMW bikes. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be.
Wait a minute. If we're going to go off on a tangent, we have a BMW manufacturing unit here in where I live that makes BMW vehicles right down the road. If you get into a BMW SUV, it was built in Greenville, South Carolina.
Was it really?
Yeah. It's huge. And now they're building electric SUVs there, BMWs.
Now, do they build the GS 1200s is what I want to.
What's a GS 1200?
The BMW, well, there's the R1200 GS, the adventure bikes.
I've not seen them be built there, but I've seen them driven here all over the place. Now, that certainly BMW is generous to the police force of Spartanburg and Greenville, South Carolina, for having their manufacturing unit here. So could they have shipped in some motorcycles for these guys? You bet. Wouldn't have been a problem. They wouldn't have broken a sweat doing that.
Yeah, they are. They're fantastic bikes.
Here we go. Hey.
I was a Triumph guy, though. I was a Triumph guy.
Well, wait a minute. You're an Etch-a-Sketch guy too. So
and I'm an Etch-a-Sketch guy. Etch-a-Sketch guy, and then later on, it was the Game Boy. When the Game Boy came out, like I was like 11, 12. Yeah, the Game Boy came out. But I remember, and I was allowed to have those things because it would keep me quiet in the car, right? Because I was a very inquisitive young person.
Oh,
and
the word is handful. Come on, let's talk like
I was a handful. Sure, I'll own that. I was a handful.
Oh, Collier,
but in a good way.
I know your parents. That's what they were thinking. Why can't Collier behave?
I was always well behaved. I was just a very inquisitive and talkative person. My mother would always tell me. She would always say, "Children are to be seen and not heard." So.
Oh, was that you that you were seen and not heard?
I was a children are to be seen and not heard kid.
Well, didn't stick Collier because you're not that kind of child now.
Definitely not.
There we go.
It didn't last very long.
Going up to your regularity, Chuck Collier. That's what we're doing here.
We're owning up to our regularity.
Yes.
All right. So back to the discussion at hand. Yes. We have other news. People are talking about what's going on in the Middle East and the ceasefire and all that. I'm not going to get into all that. I want to stick with TikTok and social media addiction, and I also feel like TikTok got like this bad rap, right? Because people were just, they're just talking about how addictive it is, and I I was dating somebody and they are like obsessed with Instagram. And I go and look, obviously I'm a creator, so I have to use these platforms to engage with my audience, which I love doing. But I can't sit on this thing for hours at a time and just watch videos. I mean, I can see, especially
if you're not
puppy
well,
videos.
You would be, if you were mentally not well, hours on the platform, because it will take all you're willing to give it.
We have a question from one of our audience members here, from Brandon.
Okay.
When a family member passes away, is that why we miss them so badly to physical pain? Sometimes because of a withdrawal?
Well, yes. When we miss family members, we really don't miss them exactly. We miss two things: the memories they created and the memory of the feelings they created. So we miss feelings and we miss times that draw us back to positive moments in our lives. That's why we miss people. And so that's why there has to be a grieving period, and to take and replace it with other activities with people that are still alive that bring back positive feelings and a positive memory.
Interesting. So, as we talked earlier, we dove into TikTok, then we got into withdrawals, and then we got into relationships, and we started, pathologizing.
This is you and me, Collier. This is what
Collier's romantic life.
This is what we do. This is called therapy online.
No, for sure. But I guess I'm curious because of that question from Brandon. I'm trying to fix my hair. I just got my hair cut, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's like the moisture, the shower, whatever. Anyways,
I'm glad
the curls annoy me.
That you don't stink. I am so glad. Yay! Collier takes a bath. Ooh, hygiene.
I will proudly say that I'm not a smelly person. I mean, even when I come from the gym, I smell pretty decent. And I've had many people who have been in my life in romantic situations who have told me this. You always smell good, Collier.
Say when you come back from the gym. That's the important thing.
What's
if they
that?
say, Collier, you don't stink, then I say victory. But if you're saying in the general population, I don't stink it up, well, okay.
You try to you try to stay away from, there's a big thing. It's very popular on social media where girls discuss the ick. Are you familiar with this?
Oh yeah, bud. And I'm glad that there's the great thing about social media is it brings out stuff that's always been in the background, and they're bringing it in the forefront. Because ick was there hundreds of years ago, but nobody said anything about it. But boy, now they bring it right up front. And so that could be an educational moment for the right person to look at it and say, to filter their life through the ick. Does the ick stick with me? Does what they're talking about the ick happen to me? Can I ask the questions that I'm having an intimate relationship with someone? Is there an element of ick? Because if there is an element of ick and I'm ignoring it, given time, the relationship is going to fall apart. People are not going to stay with ick that long. They may go with it and ignore it for a little bit, but after a while, doesn't play. Got to have a minimal ick factor to keep it.
So you're telling me that social media, that the ick existed long before social media came around.
Man. Oh God! So mankind. Let's go all the way BC. There was plenty of ick, but what happened way back then was what we would use the phrase nose blind. They were nose blind. See, back in the day, everybody was icky.
They were nose blind.
What?
They were what?
Nose blind. Nose blind is when you have people who own dogs, people who own cats. are nose blind. They walk to their house, they don't notice anything. Someone who's not, that's no dog or cat walks into your place, the first thing they go is ick or ooh.
Got it. Well, that's maybe why I date girls that have cats sometimes, because cats are, sorry, no offense, but cats can be gross with their litter boxes. So maybe they're less grossed out about.
I just want to know, do they think whatever I have constitutes an ick in there? If it does, then I need to say, is the relationship worth doing away with the ick? Or am I more attached to my ickness than I am to whoever I'm going out with?
Cat loves cat skills. Your friend who let us know what documentary we were talking about.
Yeah.
She says social media also brings out armchair experts, and I would agree about that. Okay, so we talked a while ago.
Let me just say to Catskill, you're only an armchair expert if other people are willing to listen to you. Because I've seen people with the credentials that are unbelievable and nobody listens to them. And I've seen people that have few credentials, but they are, the one quality they do have is they connect with people. They talk to them like they have sense. There's many of who that Catskills would consider armchair experts are really what I would call relatable. Those are relatable people. They talk to me in a way I can understand and interact with. See, that's what you're doing, Collier. You know, when you start singing and being you, that makes you relatable. Oh, who doesn't have some wide open friend who doesn't just break out in a song in the middle of nowhere?
I don't, but I guess that's because I'm that friend.
Well, that's what you're doing now. Wait a minute. Now you're fibbing to me. No, every time we do a show, you break out in a song.
No, but I'm saying I don't have that friend because I'm that friend. You know what I mean? It's like when you realize that like you're the person, you're like, I don't have a friend that, oh, but wait, I'm that guy.
I'm that guy that sings. Yeah.
Okay, that's me. All right. Yeah.
And everybody needs a songster as part of their group. Everybody needs a background melody. Like what was the show? La La Land. I love La La Land.
That's what you said, La La Land.
Yeah, buddy. That creates great friendships. That's what regular people have.
Relationship red flags, they are calling them icks from what I understand as well. What I've been explained to the ick is like if a guy doesn't like, if a guy, you know, I don't know, like wears his socks during sex, for example, that's like an ick to some girls.
Okay, and then what I have to ask is the sex good enough to go without the socks?
To knock your socks off? I don't know. That's a whole other question for a whole other time.
Hey, because if she's having problems with me having socks on while I'm having sex, then if I'm healthy, I make an evaluation of socks versus sex. And there's some people that have so much sex with their socks on, they'd rather be with people that are okay with the socks than be with that person who doesn't like them having socks.
I don't know. Everyone else says, whoa, that escalated quickly, my dude. Yes, it did. It did. I was just making a comment that's like one of the ick things that people refer to. That has been explained to me. These girls on Instagram, this is one of the ick things. Again, I'm not here to I mean, we're discussing TikTok and social media, but here we've
South Carolina, you don't wear socks. So there you go. You're in good shape.
You don't wear socks anyways.
Look is walking around with no socks on here.
I think during the pandemic, I was one of those people that walked around bye-bye, Casey Lee. Thank you for joining us. She's hitting dinner. She's one of our mods. Our fantastic mods are here, by the way. Amber Winnell, Casey Lee, Karen Fan, Gen X to the 7th Power, Cat Loves Cat Skills. Just want to give a shout out to everybody who's a
Okay,
mod
yeah,
here.
yeah,
You know, we got to give a shout out to our mods. Karen Fan, I think I said your name. Zet is here. All the mods. Fantastic mod squad. We love them. And of course, the number one mod, our good friend Nightbot, holding it down, making sure the AI posts all the things that we program it to do. Nightbot is the undefeated mod champion of the internet.
All right, way to go. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I don't think Peppermint PJ the conversation went downhill. The conversation just diverted to a new topic,
And all I'm saying, that's
and
us.
social medias. I mean, I can scroll through, the videos that this young lady had sent me about all the channels that cover the quote, the ick. Oh, and Hound Doggy too. Hound Doggy, thank you. Also, one of our mods as well. I was just tipped off there. Yes, thank you. Thank you to everybody.
But Collier, remember, when you and I are on, we're not ever driving a straight road. That is not us. We're a mountain road show.
I don't think I've ever driven a straight road, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I would, yeah. Okay, you got me on that one. You're not. I
think, and I was talking about motorcycles earlier, and I used to ride my Triumph up in the mountains on Highway 1 or Highway 2, which is it's the Angeles. It goes into the Angeles National Forest. It's called the Angeles Crest Highway. And it goes through where these fires are ravaging over on the east side of Los Angeles. But it goes through the mountains. And I remember you get past you're going to a place called Wrightwood. And the place that we used to stop at, there's like this little cafe. It was like an hour into it. You watch like MotoGP there or whatever. But you get past the cafe, like Jay Leno would stop there with his cars and stuff. It was super cool. Yeah. And but you get past this particular place, and God, I can't remember what the Newcomb's Ranch. That's what it was called, Newcomb's Ranch. And it was a little cafe, and all the bikers stop, and it's mostly bikers, but sometimes, like I said, Jay's there, and there's other guys driving Porsches and stuff up because there's real super windy roads. So I would always ride past it to go to a city called, or a town, not a city. Town called Wrightwood, which was past the ski resorts and stuff up in the mountains on the back side of the mountain in the Antelope Valley. So you have LA on one side, Antelope Valley on the other. And I would always cruise past Newcomb's because that's where everybody would stop. And I would want to just ride my bike and be kind of interrupted. And I remember, and this goes with my straight road, windy roads. Right. Until you hit this stretch of the highway that has a slight grade, like about like this, about like that. Maybe that's what 10% grade. And it goes on for probably 3 miles. You can see down the road. And when I hit those patches in my life, Dr. Raj, where I'm not going through the crooked roads, because it's pretty much where I go, the winding roads. Right. I hit that straight patch of roads. I open that throttle up and I am bam. Because that's about the fastest I've ever ridden my motorcycle. I would ride my motorcycle 130, 140 miles an hour up there in those mountains because they can see for 3 miles.
What you got to realize, Collier, is there's a thing called highway hypnotism. Mm-hmm. That does seldom ever happen in a windy road.
It does not.
It happens when you're on a stretch of interstate and you're going along, and it somewhat hypnotizes you, and that can be dangerous.
Sure.
So that when people want to be engaged, like up here, there are mountains up where I'm living, and a lot of motorcycles, and that's where they drive all the time because they have to stay engaged. If that's you in life, that makes sense. I like the windy roads. It's tough. It's harder to drive, but I gotta stay focused and immersed in the experience.
Yeah. That's also,
I'm sorry.
That is also why, let me just
Yeah,
don't get myself in trouble. Let me
Yeah.
pontificate here. You do
Yes.
not listen to a headset. You do not listen to music when you ride a motorcycle. You are completely alert of your surroundings, because that's actually the best way to do it, because that's the whole point of having a motorcycle. You're exposed to the elements and you're feeling every bump, lump, crack, turn, curve of the road. Right. And that's the experience you need to be. And that's the experience you need to be in. You need to be so present for.
Analogy to romance. That's what I want you to hear. If you had a relationship like you ride a bike, woo, buddy, that would be a deal. But what happens is you all of a sudden you find somebody on a windy road, you get with them and you make it a straight road in a relationship, and what happens?
Doesn't work out from my experience.
Right. Or you listen to music while you're on the straight road, and before you know it, you've kind of lost touch with the moment. And that happens all the time to people in relationships. They lose touch with the moment.
I like this metaphor. Now, let me ask you something, Dr. Raj. I was in a conversation on Friday with a client of mine, and he mentions, are you familiar with the sword of Damocles?
Oh, yes, very much so.
I was not. He mentions Damocles. He said, this person's the Damocles. And of course, I'm on the Zoom here, like, oh, yeah, like I'm engaged. And I'm meanwhile on the Google going, Damocles. Oh, and I was telling a friend of mine who's a teacher. I was like, are you familiar with the sword of Damocles? And she goes, no. And she Googles it. And she's like, and we're having a whole conversation about it. But I feel like the sword of Damocles was held over everyone's heads for the last, month and a half, since there were really a couple of days, because the Supreme Court said we're rejecting the argument against the TikTok ban. And I feel like that sword of Damocles has sort of fallen by the wayside or evaporated for the moment, but it's a 90-day stay, I believe. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, but Trump's getting involved. And how does one explain to me this sort of the philosophy in psychology of the sword of Damocles?
Okay. In olden days, they would say under the gun. Okay. That's pretty much, Damocles is kind of old school. Under the gun is kind of Western. But what it means is it's putting an excruciatingly close focus on one particular area and trying to influence the outcome. And if there's no pressure in the moment, hard to come to a decision. So people create under the gun or create the sword of Damocles to get people pressurized to make a decision. Do this or else. If you don't do this, there's consequences.
I heard this, I was talking to this person who's like a self-help influencer.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you got to give yourself deadlines. And, there's all these tropes all these people say, but they're tropes for a reason. Like they're adages for a reason. They're lessons for a reason, because it's like sort of ubiquitous. It makes sense in every area of life. But they said, give yourself a day, or give yourself a week to do something. It'll take a week. Give yourself a day. It'll take a day. Give yourself an hour. It'll take an hour. And I guess that's that sort of self-imposed sort of Damocles, right?
If you give you a lot of them, then you need to go see a stomach doctor because you have intestinal problems. That'd be what I'd say. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea until you're under pressure, and you're trying to make a marriage work, and you're trying to be nice to your dog, and you're trying to talk nice to your kids. Oh man, you will not do well. Then what you're gonna have to look at is medication. I'm gonna have to medicate myself to stay focused on whatever deadline I set up for myself. No, I say do the doable.
Do the doable. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember,
if I see success in doing something at a particular time, and that's part of my deadline, that will be self-affirming and a good thing.
Yeah.
But if I'm just doing it because some guy or girl said, set a deadline, you'll do it a day when it can be done. And I create that self-induced deadline. That is not good for my mental health.
We have a poll. We are almost at a deadlock. It is a deadlock. 151 votes, 50 yes, 50 no. Should TikTok be banned in the United States? This is coming live off of YouTube. 151 people have voted. 50% say yes, 50% say no. What do you think?
Do any of them say, I don't give a crap?
No, nobody said no. Nobody said that. I don't think.
Oh, that would be one I'd want to know. Yes, no. I there's a whole crowd that I don't care.
Yeah.
And there was, if it seemed, when I look at something, it gets done because there's a benefit for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That really increases the doability of something. If I'm not making something, or I'm not controlling something, or I'm not a part of something, I'm out. But if there is some money to be made, some ownership to be a team to be part of, ooh, buddy. Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And we see that during this time of the football season, wearing a team's uniform puts you in a certain group, a certain camp. And when you wear it, there's identification. And that people, are there TikTok wearers? Yeah. Are there not TikTok wear? Yeah. And I think there's a part that said, we don't care. We don't have a uniform. We're not watching the game. That's like saying, hey, football. And people go, wait a minute, are we talking about England or are we talking about here? And Americans will say, no, only real football's here. Even though there's millions of dollars over there, we don't live over there, so we don't care. Until you make it a money maker. Now, what's interesting, they're making soccer a money maker here. A lot of people care about soccer.
Sure. Soccer's cool.
Well, wait a minute. I can remember being in high school and people playing soccer. It wasn't that cool.
I wasn't into it. A lot of running in soccer, but now that when I got older and I started watching, Caleb Catskill says, put me in the I don't give a crap column.
Yes, I don't give a crap. Thank you, Catskill. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, a friend of mine.
Is this the best TikTok promotion? Chick Eastwater says. I don't know. What do you mean by that?
Clarify for us. I like things that make me go, That's it.
Just Me said The Social Dilemma is working. Netflix made a movie called that 10 to 20 years ago. It was not 10 to 20 years ago. The movie was made in 2020. The movie was made in 2020. It was following the Cambridge Analytica leaks, and it does talk about all of this. I watched the social media. For those of you who are channel members or Patreon supporters, we do every month. We do Collier's AV Club. This month, today, after the show, we are going to watch Luigi Mangione, Monster Martyr from the New York Post. However, back in, I don't know, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I watched The Social Dilemma with our audience, which is a Netflix documentary. For those of you that are interested in social media, a lot has changed since that documentary came out, but the principles remain the same.
Yeah,
it is very.
For saying that, say there, that's powerful, Collier, because it is so. The show and the environment is different. I get that. But what people don't get is the message, which is very powerful, is obtainable still about it. I love that movie very much because of that.
Yeah, I think the principles still sort of, as we were talking about the Etch-a-Sketch and making the sort of jokes, but the principles still do remain the same. you know, this, you know, the obsession, the reliance on external stimuli. You know, I mean, when my folks would take the Etch-a-Sketch away or the Legos or whatever, it's time to do focus on work. I guess I would focus on work, but then I think I would, you know, I'd go outside and play. Now, I guess my question to you would be, is that something that's still active? You know, I hear, again, I don't have children, so I'm kind of coming at this blind, but, and you guys can put in the comments, please put in the comments below, or or send me a message, send me an email, and reach out, info@callyourlandry.com. Let us know your thoughts on the show. Please give us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, where you ever listen to this podcast from, or here on YouTube. Please do rate, support, like, all the things. But what I was going to say is, if you I would like to hear from parents. Has this changed where if you take away the electronic devices and they can't actually like access the you know, the waterfall or the scroll of consistent visual stimuli, do they just go outside and play? Do you take that away and they go out and play, or do they not know how to do that? Is that like a lost art because we're so attached to these devices?
Okay. It's not attachment to devices, Collier. It's babysitting that we're talking about. The Etch-a-Sketch was a babysitter. The Game Boy is a babysitter. TikTok is a babysitter. If I can't afford a real life babysitter, or I'm paying for babysitting and the babysitter wants to make it easier for them,
there you go.
The stuff. That's what's going on. At the core of it, it's not about the equipment. It's about the babysitting. It's about compliance. And to think that a child somehow doesn't know how to go out and play because of oh, come on, man. No. Children always know. If you leave them in a room, they're going to figure out what they got to do to get along. That's what they do. Go to a nursery school and put a camera in there and watch how they behave. And that'll tell you right there.
You know, I have a friend who, and I remember this game coming out years and years and years ago. It's on the phone. It's called Farmville. Are you familiar with this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it makes animal sounds too, which is really cool.
So this person was telling me, she
the
goes,
cow moves and the sheep bay. It's weird. It's just weird, I think. But yeah, you know, they're playing it because you can hear them across the room. They're playing, and all of a sudden you hear this. You're like, and then you hear bang, and you hear click, 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 click. You know, it makes farm sounds.
Shantae's Inferno, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, breaking news. Generations of us survived without the internet. Good question, Collier. Definitely babysitters. I see it every day.
Yeah.
Would.
If all of a sudden a nuclear bomb came down and blew out every electrical game, this generation would adjust and go outside.
Yeah. By the way, BC Girl, thank you so much for the generous super chat, super sticker. Great job with the wildfire coverage. I do love your commentary. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate it. We have some other people are coming. Don't diss Farmville. Well, the reason why Nesty says don't diss Farmville. I am not dissing Farmville. I'm not dissing any of this. You know, I'm only presenting this. However, this is how I'm gonna frame the Farmville conversation because my friend who I'm talking to, they say, well, I don't have social media. That's because we're discussing this whole TikTok thing. And she says, well, that's why I don't have social media, because it's just a big distraction. And I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, I went on Instagram. I signed up for an account, and I realized I was watching dog videos for 4 hours, which I loved watching the animal videos for like 4 hours. I loved watching the animal. I realized 4 hours.
Wait a minute. Before there was any electronics, are you telling me there weren't people sitting out watching their dog chase their tail for hours? No electronics, no game, no internet. And hey, Bill in Georgia, hey man, look at that dog. Wow, look what it's doing. You know, what do you think that cow's doing? There was always something to focus on besides what you needed to do. And electronics, whoever got into that realized there was money to be made, and they are chasing that as far as it'll go.
Yeah,
and TikTok is part of the chasing.
that's a good point. I want to I want to bookend the Farmville conversation really fast. So my friend says that she doesn't have social media because she doesn't have time to spend on it, and then we get into a conversation. She goes, you know, she's like, "Oh, I've got to make sure to tend my plants or feed my animals or something." I said, "What?" And then her boyfriend's looking at me, and he's just like, just go with it, dude. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, what? He says, it's like, it's Farmville, and I'm like, hold on here, guys. Okay, so hold on. So you don't want to waste time on social media, but you're playing a game on your phone, and she shows it to me, and the whole thing. She's like, yeah, I gotta water my things. I gotta water the. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, and I guess so. I guess this brings me back to my point, which I had an hour ago. I want to certainly come full circle here, asking you as a professional. You know, look, I always say on the show, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I do not work in law enforcement. I'm just a guy who's been through a lot of shit, but I feel like I have a really unique perspective. But when people are talking about the doom scrolling and the way that social media makes people feel, or they feel inadequate because they see other people's lives, or they see this and they don't know the backstory, everything's, I think it was Wesley Snipes that famously said, nobody puts a bad day on their social media. Nobody's like, oh, yeah, life sucks. I'm broke and I can't go anywhere. They're like, everything's awesome. Check out my private jet. Hey, girl, FOMO or YOLO or whatever. But my point is that has it really changed? Because it seems like it's the same thing. So is it the social media or the content or the constant stimuli that's bad for us? Or is it our obsession with these things? And it doesn't matter what it is, it's all bad.
Okay. All you're talking about,
whether you're sitting on the porch all day, drinking a beer, watching the dog chase its tail or the animals running around the yard, or you're obsessed with like something else that isn't productive, that makes you feel in a bad, like what is the psychology behind this? Because these people that are arguing against social media, and in particular TikTok, which I don't see the difference. I mean, I understand it's a different platform, but what the difference is between watching people doom scrolling through Instagram all day, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just a different algorithm. What is the difference?
Okay, Collier, if you drank liquor and you didn't get drunk, would you continue to drink liquor?
Probably not.
There we go. It's the same thing. Okay, you got people out there that realize the more they capture and maintain your eyes on whatever it is, they make money. If it was not a money-making endeavor, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They're just doing the doable. They found out, hey, if we keep their eyes on it, we can make more money. So now we're going to pay people more money if they can figure out a way to capture the eyes. That's all that's going on. And what has there been that kind of psychological dilemma throughout life? Yes. If wine was, well, wait a minute, grape juice. Well, why aren't we drinking grape juice at the same amount we're drinking wine, since it's the same thing? No, it's because wine lights you up. And because it lights you up, you do it until it does. Or it loosens inhibitions, or it gives you a good excuse to make stupid decisions. Does this, if you didn't drink, you wouldn't make stupid decisions? No. You'll make stupid decisions every day. But people are more than willing to pay good money to have a reason for making stupid decisions.
Look, sorry to interrupt you, but as someone who's quit drinking alcohol 4 years ago, I'll tell you what. Yes, there are maybe less stupid decisions, but there are still stupid decisions that are made. So a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with the alcohol.
Exactly. But boy, if I need a good excuse, pick up a beer. See, I always say, I was in a culture, they picked up a beer, and when you heard this phrase, Collier, watch this, you got out of there. Because you knew whatever they were going to do was going to be a bad decision, and you didn't want to be part of it.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's, we love to say A means B, but in many cases it doesn't. There's not a connection. It's just part of the human experience. It's just part of what humans regularly do without whatever you're pointing out. But if you're looking, oh, it must be this, and you look at it long enough for you to get published, you're going to find something to talk about.
This is an interesting comment from Perry. Welcome, Perry. I don't think I've ever seen. Oh, she's got they've got a meme of some boxing going on there with headgear. You will always see a longer queue for the ghost train than the weight machine. I think that's an interesting analogy. I don't really know what we mean by the ghost train.
Yeah, I don't know what the ghost.
But I do understand. But I think the analogy is people are going to take the easy. Correct me if I'm wrong, Perry, in the comments here. But I think what you mean to say is people will always do what's the lowest lift or the easiest.
Yes.
Like, well, let's just go that. Then actually go into the weight machine to train and do something productive. You know what I mean? Let's just get on the ghost train. I'll have to.
Paul, you got to ask yourself, why do people pay more money for sexier workout outfits than they do for just rags? Because it's not about the exercise; it's about what it makes you look like.
That's a good point. I bought some. Speaking of workout pants, because I love Viore, but they're very expensive. So I don't buy myself Viore, but I've had people buy me Viore. But I wanted some new workout pants, and I went on Amazon, and I found some from, I think they were Hanes, and they were cotton poly blend, and they're almost like a yoga pant, and they were 60% off on Amazon, so they were like $12. So I got myself a couple pairs. And they are being washed right now. I'm very excited. I wore them for the first time today to work out in, and they were fantastic. So they didn't have to. They're not sexy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
they're not. They're practical. Okay. It's cold here.
Oh,
I'm cold. It's 55 degrees.
Wait a minute. Now you're fibbing again. I've caught you in a fib. Okay, let's get honest here, Roger. I looked to make sure I didn't look unappealing. Maybe I wasn't going for sexy, but I didn't want to look like a goob.
Well, they were replacing my camo. I had like these camouflage Nike track pants that I have that I wear that I do not care. I sweat in them. They do the purpose. They keep me warm. But I was looking for non-camo because I was like, I'm wearing a little too much camo to the gym. So maybe that's what I was thinking. So yes, I was like, I don't need the Viore pants. I'll just take the Hanes or whatever they were, the $12 cotton yoga pants, and they worked. They did the trick today at the gym. I got to tell you, I sweat.
They didn't.
I got a good workout in.
They didn't make you look ugly, did they?
They're black, so they're very simple.
I'm not asking for color. I'm saying they didn't make you look ugly.
They didn't make me look ugly.
There we go. There's really it. There's the real issue for you. Vanity. It's all vanity. Move on.
So are we saying so you're saying that's the diagnosis on the social media is a vanity? It's a solipsistic endeavor.
I'm saying it for the majority of people, it's a habit, and they've found an ease in using it. And taking that away irritates them. There's other people that they are so emotionally connected to it that taking it away is in line with taking a substance away from them, and it's an addiction.
Interesting. Well, Dr. Raj, can you offer my audience some practical tips if they are experiencing withdrawals from social media? I'm sure there are a lot of people who are under a lot of anxiety. As I said, as that sword of Damocles was hung over their head, whether TikTok was going to go away or not, their social media consumption is going to be disrupted. what are some ways that people can practically or pragmatically, if they think that they're spending a little too much time online or on these apps and it's kind of taking over their life, that they can practice to sort of get out of that cycle of negativity?
Okay, number one, evaluate how much time you spend on TikTok. Okay, then looking at that time, ask yourself, what else will benefit my life that I can use this time on? And then make the shift and focus on the new focus of what you're interested in. And if you do that, you're going to have a tinge of the loss of the old, but you'll replace it very quickly with a new habit that you get benefit from.
That's a good analogy for that's a good breakdown. I mean, when you're able to analyze like, okay, because I do this a lot in my own personal life. Like I try to break down, like, look, how much time am I spending on X and what is that benefiting me? Right. Or how much time, because, time is our most precious resource,
Very healthy to do that.
And what you're saying is if they can, is it sort of like a priority realignment? Is that what it is?
It's a focus realignment. It's taking the focus away from what was there that's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And replacing it with something that you perceive to be more beneficial to you as a person.
Yeah.
So you're not really giving up, you're stepping up into a better choice.
Interesting. One of the on the flip side of this, I often have it. I was discussing this with my friend group. This last week. We were talking about, like, I have a very hard time, and my psychologist had told me this before. Like, you got to find a way to, like, disconnect, because everything I do, it's sitting here, it's in front of the computer, it's creating content, it involves a camera, it involves this. It's a very heavy creative workload for what I do, and I've been a creative entrepreneur my entire life. So this is just the world I live in, right? Whether it's, picking up a guitar or a camera or this or that, it's all in my world, right? But sometimes I have a really hard time disconnecting. And what about for people who are not utilizing social media or not obsessed with, like, the scroll, but they don't want to get sucked in, but they also need a little bit of a break they need to break up their day and be like, look, for me, I play Wordle every day, right? The New York Times game section, the mini crossword, the Wordle, the strands, the connections. If you guys do it, you know what I'm talking about. But those games don't last very long. You play it and you can only play it once a day. So once you solve the puzzle or you don't solve the puzzle, you're done for another 24 hours. Is it almost good to have a regimen and be like, okay, I'm going to take a 5-minute break, go on TikTok, watch a bunch of dog videos and be happy, and then go back to my work? Is that a healthy way to sort of substitute that?
Sure. Imagine anything you're doing, and even in a professional sports game, there's a magic moment, and it's done like this. What does that mean, Collier?
The timeout.
That's all you need. If TikTok is how you have it, if it provides a timeout, good. It allows people to reevaluate the game they're living. So anything that allows you to take a timeout and reevaluate your life game, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think that people would benefit a great amount, especially in their love relationships, if they took a timeout. Woo! Wow. A lot of people need to do it, don't do it, and regret it down the road.
And ultimately, it ends up leading to more productivity, correct?
It just makes you fresher.
Yeah.
And aren't people more productive the fresher they are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know I am.
There you go. So there's nothing wrong with being electronically, production-wise focused, but if there's no timeout in the game of electronics, well, Collier, there's a problem with that. You're not doing your best game. If you took the time out to do whatever, play the little game, be on the internet, take a stroll, way back in the day, people took timeouts. Poets took timeouts. Scholars took timeouts. And it refreshed them, and they came on to the subject better. Been going on forever.
Pickle Zero said, "Thank you so much for sharing that." Yes, my my episode of Forensic Files is very popular. They saw me on Pickle Zero saw me on Forensic Files last night.
Way to go! What is Pickle One?
Pickle Zero. What is Pickle One? Right? Pickle Zero. By the way, I have to say I like your. If that's your photo,
wahoo! What's Pickle One?
If that is your photo, I like the use of, we call this push pull with the blues and like the magenta. That is called a push pull on the color wheel. We use that in cinema a lot. That's my background as a DP coming into play here.
Like my wife, she knows colors.
Oh yeah, colors, color, lighting, all those things are very cool.
Very cool.
Dr. Raj, you made a sports analogy, and I have a very important question for you. And there is only one right answer to this question. I hope you know.
Okay.
But tomorrow night,
answer is I don't give a crap. Okay,
tomorrow night we have the college football playoff championship, and we have two teams playing. We have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and then we have
football, not
the
basketball.
Ohio State. That's what I said. Football. That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said basketball.
I don't think I said it. I may have said basketball.
So yeah, you got football. They're playing.
Yes, and we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yes.
Who will you be rooting for?
Okay, I've got that one down, Carl. You ready? The Oklahoma Sooners. It does not matter who's playing. I'm a fan. I grew up in that culture.
Oh, man.
Sooner born and sooner bred, and when I die, I'll be sooner dead. Okay? I'm on 2025 is what I say, for them to play the next season and see how they do. I'm sorry they're not in the finals.
Okay, that's a good answer too. If you're not, and then I'm going to say that your second choice would be the Ohio State Buckeyes, and then we'll leave it at that. Dr. Raj, thank you so much for coming on the program. Where can my audience find you?
At drrogerrhodes.com, at gmail.com. drrogerrhodes@gmail.com. And
you are not on social media, correct?
No, but I have I believe I have a website. Check out Rhodes, RHOADES, Roger Rhodes, Dr. Roger Rhodes, and I believe I have some stuff on. I've got a website, but I'm not. I would say, and we've made this very open. I am not technologically savvy. I'd be the first to say that.
Hey, it's all good. Hey, your internet was working great today. We didn't have any issues again. 2 times in a row. I love this. We're going to work on getting that better and dialed in for you, as I've promised you. My guest today is Dr. Roger Rhodes, a friend of the show, always with great, amazing insight, with a little bit mixed with that Southern charm. Yeah, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it.
One of the dates, Collier, is get her done.
Get her done. I like that.
Get her done.
I like that. Dr. Raj, we will see you on the next one, my friend. Thank you for being here. Mover Nation, we get through another one. Big shout out again to my friend, Dr. Roger Rhodes. Look, guys, if you are going through social media withdrawals, TikTok withdrawals, or you're looking for new content, you can find me on TikTok, because now it's back together, and Humpty Dumpty's been put back together, and our new president getting ready, our president 2.0 coming back in the picture has stayed the TikTok ban, saved TikTok. But check me out. You can find me over there. I have 304,000 followers over on TikTok, 3,004.3, something like that. Anyways, check me out on TikTok. A lot of good stuff over there. A lot of good content. Mover Nation, we get through another one. I want to say thank you so much to my channel supporters, Patreon supporters. Tonight, guys, if you are a channel member or a channel Patreon supporter, we have Collier's AV Club. We are going to be watching the Luigi Mangione documentary from the New York Post. It's a new documentary they've come out with. We're going to check that out. And you guys can join us if you're not a channel member. If you sign up, the link is in there in the next 20 minutes, 27 minutes. We have about a 10-minute start wait time. Then we start about 10 after the hour. So about 8:15 tonight, we will screen the documentary. We'll have a little chat afterwards. It'll be super cool. You guys all get to engage and everything like that. So check that out. And if you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and look at the member section. Mover Nation, on that note, I hope that all of you are having a wonderful Sunday. Let's see if the LA Rams won. We'll see. They lost to the Eagles. Oh, what a bummer. I was hoping my LA Rams would win. Looked good for a minute. All right, Mover Nation. Ohio State Buckeyes play tomorrow night. Let's go Bucks. In the college football national championship. And kind of like that. River Nation, we get through another one. As I always say in this program, you guys are my bedrock that I build this whole channel on, that I build this podcast on. If you like this podcast, please go to Apple, give us a 5-star review, give us a little rating over there, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, check it out. And kind of like that, we get through another one. I love all of you so much. Remember, as I always like to say, Mover Nation, always remember to be kind with one another. And on that note, I'm Collier Landry. Here's the outro. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support today's program, please click the links in the description of the show notes of today's episode. And if you like this video, check out this one right here or this one right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps with the algorithm. On that note, I'm Collier Landry. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Good girl, Marisol. Good girl.